Oh, morning, Trainiacs. It is minus 19 Celsius, minus 3 Fahrenheit, but it is particularly chilly today because I am actually still just wearing a towel and Speedo. This may look ridiculous, but I just did a fasted, very light swim. Follow that up right now with a little bit of cold exposure, a fair bit of cold exposure to shed some fat. Things I do for you guys, they might not be smart, they may look ridiculous, but I actually have some results from something that I started doing last year that a lot of you have been wondering about with low heart rate training, and we got some really interesting results to show you what you can improve with that low heart rate training. All right, I just got to get home. It's like 5 minutes away. I can do this. I can do this. Yeah, so that was cold. Very, very cold. I immediately regretted that as soon as I got outside the parking lot. Made it though. If you are interested in little bits more of fasting and why we do that and some free stuff on that, I'll link to it at the end of the video. Okay, so a big part of Team Trainiac has been polarized training. So this means that the vast majority of your training you do either at really light intensities, not very difficult, or really hard intensities, quite difficult. This is to build your aerobic engine, the strength of your heart and lungs, your cardiovascular system, burn a ton of fat while you are doing the workouts. This is to make you stronger, faster, better. So you are building a big base of fitness and making yourself faster. This stuff over here has absolutely shell-shocked a lot of people because when we calculate our heart rate zones, people are just astounded at what light intensity is, how easy they need to go with this easy work. And the response that I give is this is an indication of how much potential you've got, because if you can do all of the workouts that you've been doing up to this point, and your bottom end, your low zones 1 and 2 aren't really that trained very well at all, think about how much better you could be once they are trained with doing this light intensity. And I think people grudgingly have been doing the work, but not yet seeing the results, and they're just kind of trusting that it's going to end up working out. I have results to show you. It's not subtle, Grace. Come on up. Gracie's staring at me. We're back in the pain cave. All is right in the world again. What we've got here are two separate but very, very similar workouts. The first workout I'm going to show you is about a 3-hour ride that I was doing 5.5 weeks out from Half Ironman World Championships last year. Coming into last year, I hadn't done a ton of just general zone 1 and 2 heart rate controlled, base building kind of fitness work, but I still felt really fit. I ended up doing a personal best at Half Ironman Worlds. The next workout that I'm going to show you is a workout that I did yesterday, about 5 weeks out from Half Ironman Puerto Rico. But one of the main differences is that over the last 3 months, I have done a huge amount of heart rate controlled, low, just general fitness building, zone 1 and 2 kind of efforts. And there is a significant difference in the performance. So first I'm going to show you last year's workout. And if you zoom in on the side here, you see some of the stats. It was 106 kilometers, 3 hours, 8 minutes, 42 seconds, with a training stress score of 138. Normalized power, 187. Go down here. Average power, 174. Average heart rate was 130. Okay, remember these, that the average power is 174 and the average heart rate is 130. Now let's go to yesterday's workout here. 3 hours, 3 minutes, 28 seconds, 104 kilometers, training stress score of 156. So on the surface, largely a very similar workout. The training stress score is higher, so theoretically this should be more intense for me. But let's also zoom down here. Average power, 172. So my power average is actually 8 watts higher. Normalized power is almost 20 watts higher. But my heart rate was 118, 12 beats per minute lower on average. And I wasn't really realizing this until the end of the workout, but the workout yesterday was 6 repeats of 15 minutes at or above race pace, and then a 5-minute rest in between. And when I got to the final 2, I was like, you know what, this is actually feeling quite easy. And I kept looking at my heart rate, expecting it to cardiac drift up and seeing a massive spike and essentially crashing, because that's what I remember these workouts to be like last year. In this case, I actually performed better and it took less of a toll on my body from a cardiovascular standpoint. Now, if you know a lot about heart rate training, you know that it's fairly variable and there are some things that influence it. Well, let's look at a couple of those things to start kind of normalizing these two workouts. Well, last year's workout had an average cadence of 70. I was doing really low muscular endurance cadence work. Yesterday's workout had an average cadence of 82. Typically, when you have a higher cadence, your heart rate is actually higher. So even though yesterday my heart rate was lower, it should have been theoretically higher. And the next thing that I want you to look at is just the map. You can see last year's workout was outdoors, whereas yesterday's workout was on Watopia. Now, why this is relevant is because typically when you're inside on a trainer, your heart rate tends to be up maybe about 4 to 8 beats a minute on average, because all of the heat just kind of traps itself inside, whereas outside you are easily able to shed a lot of that heat because the wind is moving away from you. So again, these two things, cadence and being indoors, you would think that my heart rate might actually be higher yesterday than it was last year. And then finally, the most basic of all of this, look at the average speed. Yesterday's average speed was 34.2 kilometers per hour, whereas last year's was 33.7 kilometers per hour. So a lot of the questions that I've been getting, like I say, are, does this actually work? How can I possibly go slower and actually get faster? How can I actually make progress if at some points I'm doing a 7-minute kilometer, if I feel like I'm barely moving? Well, I've felt the same thing for the last 3 or 4 months, just trusting that the science, the study, the number of pro triathletes that follow a ton of polarized training where they build up that big base of fitness, and then come race season, they sharpen up with a bunch of race pace efforts. I was hoping that it would pay off, and what we're seeing right now is that with just about 3 race effort kind of workouts, I can take that big base of fitness and really start sharpening up for the race, and the ability to execute is going to be so much higher because I haven't smashed myself a bunch of times along the way. I've built a big base of fitness with low zones 1 and 2. I've built a bunch of speed with the high intensity. Now we dial into zone 3, which is around the race pace, and execute. So a few things. If this interests you and you want all of the workouts and the periodization that is generating these results, because I'm doing the same workouts as Team Trainiac, it's what I use for my training personally, go to teamtrainiac.com, try out a 14-day free trial. Next thing, if you want that fasted workout, go over to, it's going to be up there. And if you want some more information on heart rate training, go there. All right? Gracie says, welcome home, Trainiacs. Later.